Mom is having a hard time living on her pension. Those of us who are still able to work should help her out, right? We should offer some support when it comes to the inheritance after Dad's passing. The second son, Jack, talks seriously to his brother and his wife, but it seems like his words aren't getting through to them. What about you? Just because she only has her pension, it doesn't mean we should give her our money. Exactly. Or maybe, does Mom think she can just take our money? Suddenly, the older son, Henry, and his wife, Sarah, look at me like they've just tasted something bad. It was not a look that should be directed at your parents. Stop trying to take advantage of us. It's a hassle. Mom should just keep to herself. Unless it's for weddings or funerals, she should stay out of our lives. Enough, Jack scolds them, but I just stare down, clenching my fists. Not only did they wish for my husband's death, but now they're complaining about the inheritance and calling me a parasite. I must have raised him wrong. I can't take it anymore. Still, I spoke calmly to Henry and Sarah. I understand what you're saying. Let's cut ties. My name is Ellen. I'm 65 this year. I live with my husband, who's retired. He's kind and thoughtful, and we've supported each other for many years. We have 2 children, our oldest, Michael, and our second son, Jack. Both of them are married. Our house has been getting old, so we plan to renovate. We thought it would be nice to live with Michael and his wife, Laura, once the renovations were done. So, I called Michael. We're planning to renovate soon. Would you consider moving in with us? When I said this on the phone, Michael clearly didn't like the idea. Move in with you? Are you serious? Laura won't like it, and I don't either, but if you're renovating, you can make a room for us. If you have the money to renovate, you can share some of it with us. I'll take care of things from here. I could even hear Laura, Michael's wife, saying, living together is totally out of the question. I see, let's forget about this, I said. Michael and Laura always act so cold and superior toward us. After hanging up, I told my husband exactly what they said. He looked a little sad but responded cheerfully. We can't help getting older. Let's just make the renovations so it's easier for us to live alone. So, we renovated our home as we wanted, making it accessible. A few months after the renovations, we planned to have dinner with both of our sons and their wives. First to arrive were Jack and his wife, Emily, who is a kind and considerate person. As soon as she handed me a gift, she came to the kitchen to help. You always make such great meals, Mom, she said. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate your help, Emily. While we were talking, Michael and Laura arrived. When they entered, they sat down heavily on the sofa and demanded tea. As I started preparing it, Laura and Michael complained. Seriously? They don't think about anyone else. Exactly, we're the guests here. Hurry up. As I was about to serve them, Jack leaned over to Michael. Michael, can't you at least do this much for yourself? Shut up, Michael snapped. At his harsh words, I sighed. Jack and Emily were kind to us, but even Jack's tone didn't seem to reach Michael. The reason we called them here was to discuss something important. Dinner started, and Michael, eating with a sour look, spoke up. Hey, Dad, you called us here. You must have something to say, right? My husband looked at me, so I nodded slightly. The truth is, I've been diagnosed with lung cancer. Jack and Emily looked shocked. Michael and Laura didn't react much. Dad, cancer? What's going on? Michael asked. I'll be in the hospital next week. The cancer has spread everywhere, and I have about 6 months left, my husband replied. That's impossible, Michael mumbled, almost like it was happening to someone else. Well, you can't fight age, right? My uncle passed away quickly from stomach cancer too, Laura added carelessly. Her thoughtless comment upset me, and I couldn't help but raise my voice. Can you two just stop it? I raised my voice in frustration. Ellen, it's okay. My husband gently calmed me down, looking at his children. I want you both to take care of your mother when I'm gone. Of course, Dad, we'll make sure Mom is okay, so don't worry, Jack and Emily replied with sincerity. Please, take care of your health too, father-in-law, said Emily. The second son, Jack, and his wife were clear in their words, but Michael and Laura, the eldest son and his wife, barely paid attention. They were busy playing with their phones, not listening to their father at all. After dinner, everyone began to leave. Michael and Laura left quickly, so I went outside to see Jack and Emily off. Mom, I know this is hard, but hang in there, we're here to help. Please, don't hesitate to ask for anything, Jack said. Thank you, Jack, I replied. After that, I saw them off. My husband chose palliative care over surgery or chemotherapy, so he was admitted to a hospice the next week. I started visiting him almost every day, and Jack and Emily would drive me there and help take care of him, but no matter how many times I called, Michael and Laura never came to visit. Then, about 5 months later, my husband's condition got worse. I called Michael and Laura, telling them that it might be the end. They showed up, but reluctantly. Michael didn't say anything to his father or hold his hand. They just stared at him like he was something unpleasant to look at. "We've done our part, isn't that enough? We've got other things to do, so we'll leave now." They left the hospital room just 10 minutes after arriving. As soon as they left, I saw Laura putting on her jacket. I quickly followed them. When I reached the stairs leading to the hallway, I saw them slowly heading down. They were so caught up in their conversation that they didn't notice me. "Looks like Dad's time is almost up," Michael said. "Yeah, what's going to happen to the inheritance once your father's gone?" Laura asked. Michael smiled at her question. "Dad was just a regular worker, but Mom and the others have been living pretty comfortably recently. Maybe they've been doing something with stocks or something. We could probably expect a decent inheritance." "Haha, I can't wait. I've been wanting to go on an overseas trip. I also want to design her handbag." Laura laughed. "All we can do now is wait for everything to wrap up," Michael added. I stood frozen, my heart aching as I listened to their conversation. I couldn't bring myself to tell my husband about what happened. I just couldn't face them, so I quietly went back to the hospital room. 2 weeks later, my husband passed away. I stayed by his side for as long as I could, but Jack and his wife, Emily, were there supporting me. With their help, I was able to stay strong, and the funeral went smoothly. After the funeral, when only the family remained, Michael couldn't wait any longer and brought up the inheritance. "Are you serious, Michael? We just had the funeral today." Jack immediately scolded him, but Michael just glared at him. "Shut up, second son," Michael snapped. That's when I spoke up. "We'll have a meeting next week to discuss the inheritance. For today, please go home." With that, the older couple left without saying much. The next week, Michael and Laura arrived in a cheerful mood, while Jack and Emily looked serious. We sat down to discuss the inheritance. "I should start by telling you that your father's inheritance is about $30,000, I said. "What?" Michael looked shocked. "I think we should split it according to the legal shares. I'll take half, and you two can have a quarter each." "Wait, hold on, are you saying it's only $30,000? Michael asked, still in disbelief. I handed him a thick envelope. "The documents are all inside, please look for yourself." After looking through the papers, Michael and Laura's faces turned sour. "Ugh, Dad really didn't have much, huh? So we're only getting $7,500 each. This is way too little. If it's this small, give us the house too," Laura said, clearly unhappy. Jack got angry. "Our mother still lives in that house." "I don't care. If the inheritance is this small, give us the house," Michael argued. "That house was carefully renovated by your father so we could live here comfortably when we're older. I won't just give it up. I'll keep it as long as I live," I said calmly. "What? It's not fair for you to keep it all." Michael shot me a furious look, like he was about to lash out. "Calm down," Jack told Michael. "Dad was always worried about me. You might not understand it." Jack turned to me, his voice softer now. "Mom, we'll make sure you get your share too. Dad would want you to be taken care of." "You don't need to worry, Jack," I said. Michael and Laura quickly interjected. "If they don't want to give their part to Mom, who's living on her pension, then we'll gladly take it." "That's not right. Mom is living on her pension. It's hard for her. We, who are working, should help her out," Jack scolded them, but it didn't seem to have any effect. "You call that support? Just because she's living on her pension doesn't mean we should give away our money." "Exactly, or maybe she was planning to take all our money from the start." Michael and Laura looked at me with disgust, like they were looking at something awful. Their expressions were not how you should treat a parent. "Stop acting like a parasite, you're just a nuisance. People on pensions should stay out of everything except weddings and funerals. Just keep quiet." "Enough," Jack shouted at them, but I was too upset to speak. Not only did they seem to want my husband dead, but now they were complaining about the inheritance and calling me a parasite. I felt like I had failed somehow in raising him. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I had to stay composed. I took a deep breath and calmly said to Michael and Laura, "I understand what you're saying. Let's cut ties." For a moment, the older couple looked surprised, but then they grinned. "Really? That's the best news I've heard. Does this mean we don't have to deal with the old lady anymore? Lucky." Michael and Laura hurried to leave, throwing a final sarcastic comment at Jack and Emily. "So, you two take care of the old lady. Good luck with that." As they stormed out, Jack and Emily rushed over to me. "Mom, are you okay? They're horrible. Don't let them upset you. We're always here for you." I looked down for a moment, but then I lifted my head and looked them in the eye. A few months later, while I was relaxing at home, Michael and Laura came over with Jack. "What's going on? Haven't we cut ties already?" "Old lady, we need to talk." I let them in and led them to the living room, where they immediately started raising their voices. "What do you mean you're giving the house to Bill?" "Yeah, you're ignoring us. We're the oldest. What's going on? I stayed calm. Jack said he would take care of the house and keep your father's memories. That's why I decided to leave it to him. What? Michael was taken aback. Jack and his wife, Emily, have been a big support to me. It's only right. I smiled warmly at the younger couple. Thank you, Mom, Jack said, but we didn't come here to hear that. You said you'd keep the house, right? I quickly looked at the eldest daughter-in-law, who seemed furious, and explained, I decided to give it to someone who respects both your father and my wishes. Plus, I've started getting some rental income. What's that about? Michael looked surprised. Remember last year when my father, your grandfather, passed away? Jack came to the funeral, but you couldn't because you were out of town? Well, your grandfather was a landlord with a few buildings. His inheritance has been settled, and I've started receiving rental income. Michael and Laura looked stunned. We never heard anything about that. I didn't mention it before. So, how much are we talking about for the rental income? It's about $3 million a year, so I'm giving one of the houses to Jack and Emily. As for you two, I trailed off, looking at them coldly. Michael and Laura jumped up. Wait, if Jack and Emily get one, we should too. Why should I share anything with you? You called me a parasite. Wasn't it you who told me to stay away? I snapped. Michael and Laura seemed to fumble for words as I glared at them and pointed to the door. All right, the conversation is over. Please leave. Wait, Mom, please listen. Michael rushed forward, grabbing my arm. I looked at him coldly. You don't have the right to call me Mom anymore. Please, can't you give us some of the house and money? We're struggling, Laura pleaded. I stared at them. Struggling? What do you mean? Michael hesitated. We thought we'd get Dad's inheritance and live too lavishly, and now we're in debt. I jerked my arm away from Michael. How foolish can you be? This is your mess. You have to deal with it. Mom, that's too cruel. Michael and Laura looked shocked. I had the final say. From now on, I'll transfer everything to Jack while I'm still alive. You won't get a penny from me. Please don't ever come near us again. Jack stood up. If you understand, then leave. Don't come back. Jack showed the two of them out the door. He rubbed my back as I took a few deep breaths. Afterward, Michael and Laura apparently went bankrupt from the debt they had accumulated. You could hear them arguing all the time. For them, it seemed like their future was pretty bleak. As for me, I transferred the house to Jack and moved into an apartment nearby with caregiving services. Jack and Emily visit often, and they've recently had a baby. I'm looking forward to building a stronger bond with Jack's family and cherishing every moment.